Thanks again for dialing in. We're now at the part of the 20-10-10 where we've conquered the mechanical understandings and the 20 products or services, and we need to focus on our 10 biggest problems. Problems are everywhere and more by the day, and if you listen to the media, they're never ending. But these types of problems are going to be gaps that we're going to focus on that have not yet been well met by the average company, entrepreneur, or intrapreneur from your journey so far. A problem in its most simple form is pain you experience, but hopefully not just physical pain, although we do see some of those in healthcare. Pain can be about when you're going to plan your next vacation, thinking about your next restaurant experience, needing directions, to collaborate with colleagues 3,000 miles away or 30,000 miles away, or need to take on your next adventure in all of its forms. Problems are the delta or the gap between what already exists in the marketplace and the aspiration and the ambition that you have. Problems, hopefully, are a fast follow to your 20 products or services, because when you've thought about your product or services you're willing to advocate for, I bet you could also make a list of things that nag you just a little bit about what those existing products and services, no matter how much you love them, don't yet meet your expectations on. It might be a plane or a bus or a train that you love riding but doesn't have quite the right menu or internet or availability of day-to-day services yet. It might be a piece of clothing that fits most of the time but handles really poorly when you're trying to do regular laundry and you're tired of dry cleaning. It might be a restaurant that gets the menu really right and the service really wrong. Or it might be a wild and crazy idea that has to do with artificial intelligence or autonomous vehicles or anything else we experience in our day-to-day. The key about inventorying our 10 biggest problems is to focus not on all the problems we experience today that are an inconvenience, frustrating, or ultimately taxing, but rather the 10 biggest problems where you get mad enough about them not yet meeting your expectations that you talk about them at least every 3 months with someone. And when you talk about them, you typically take some sort of an action step into getting deeper awareness into what currently exists, or one step closer into starting something that would ultimately fill the gap being left by the existing marketplace. So, what kinds of problems do I experience? Well, not a lot of original ones as a parent. First and foremost is about the education system. Why is it that my choices are having my kids sit and listen to a memorized set of information in a really static or standing classroom, despite how much I love and appreciate the amazing teachers that have given their time today to commit to my kids, or they have to become Zoom zombies, or find themselves staring even more minutes on the screen, continuously training their brains in order to progress creative, original thinking. Neither one of those are particularly helpful, which is why you find so many parents around the perimeter of a playground or on our own SMS chains talking about just how and when we might evolve, ultimately, the education system. I find it amazingly frustrating that even some of the best physicians that we have been able to talk to don't actually have great nutritional or dietary advice. And then when you try to go personalized dietary and nutrition, it doesn't necessarily all add up. It doesn't fit my schedule or my lifestyle or the life stage I have with my limited availability having kids running around my ankles. At this point, I get mad that I can't just simply find a system that is cost effective, that tells me when and how I might want to eat a thing in order to maximize my role as a professor, my role as a household member, my role as a person, a son, a brother, a father, and all those things in between. Why can't I have more personalized nutrition that works with my life as opposed to against it, or at least against my wallet? So how do we get started taking an inventory of the 10 problems that surround, above, below, or around you every day, every week, every month in this little life of ours? Well, it starts by just taking a little bit of an inventory, a small journal, and recording when you feel like you've stubbed your toe, or your needs haven't been met, or you're finding yourself frustrated, or saying things out loud like, man, they charge an awful lot for that. Those are leading indicators that you have identified a problem that you are thinking about, at least in that moment. And if you find yourself walking around, whether it's with physical paper or a digital notebook or an audio recording, and reminding yourself again and again about how frustrated you are with things like the education system, at least once every 3 months, it's a leading, not a lagging indicator that it should probably be on your problem list. Now, There's lots of nuance about how you can make the most and ultimately action this list of problems. Because remember, we're not making a list of gripes that's going to be 10,000 items long that we can share and paint on our wall. If you need this type of support, I'm probably not the type of guide that you should be talking to today. However, problems, especially problems that happen frequently and in a big way that you talk an awful lot about, tend to be leading indicators for what you might want to spend your time, your energy, and your resources talking about. My problem about education is certainly something I spend my time on. However, I decided not to found a company, a software tool, or ultimately a product or service about it, but instead choose that as a guide about where I should volunteer my time. So once a week, I spend at least 2 hours down at my kid's school thinking about and talking about what other types of more applied and practical educational experiences we can offer these early stage children. I also think a lot about inventorying my 10 problems as not only being a founder, but recruiting and attracting co-founders, co-pilots, early employees, and everything in between. These problems are an indicator of also folks that feel like they have not found an existing solution in the marketplace, and that gap exists for them as well. Problems are powerful tools in the absence of having a lot of inspiration from your products or services previously, or from having a lot of passion, but in a space that is really nascent on the leading or bleeding edge of coming to market. Oftentimes we find this when new technology opens up concepts like cryptocurrencies or NFTs or metaverse, or expands upon legacy concepts like unstructured text and analytics, right? Or retail experiences, or restaurant moments, or hospitality experiences. These problems help us understand what we care about the most that we might found or spark a company against. If you found yourself struggling with problems, take some time to ask everyone else around you what you complain about. It may become less obvious or more obvious over time about what's important to you, but actually asking those that you spend the most time with what you are most frustrated with can be a shortcut to inventorying at least 1 to 5 critical problems on our way of getting a goal of 10. So if you've asked everybody around you what your problems are, and you've walked around with a journal and you've done a little bit of Googling or searching about what types of things are on the top of the horizon, you're already well on your way to taking 15 or 20 minutes and figuring out your top 10 problems you might start a company, recruit a co-founder on, do more research, or generally explore curiosities with. This, plus our 20 products and services, completes the first 30 out of our 40 20-10-10 objects that we're going to focus and use as a time management tool. Good luck now pausing the video or rewatching the video to better capture the concept and exploring those critical 10 problems that we're going to bring to life. Next, we'll focus on our final leg of the 20-10-10 exercise. The 10 causes that make your blood boil, but you know you serve some purpose in ultimately fulfilling the mission of whoever is trying to reduce the implications of that cause shortly.